the we're going to waive the executive session. As everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the March 12th meeting. Anybody have any requests for corrections, deletions, additions of the town clerk's minutes?
No, I don't think so.
These are the town clerk's minutes. Public comment. I'd like to start with the public comment. We've been going back and forth and talking about the golf course. We had quite a few people come to us and tell us the town should take it over. After looking at the financials and the what it would take, we're not in a position to do that as a town entity at this point, or probably at any point. I did have a good conversation with Roger Quinn Jr. The golf course. He's technically in charge of all things going on at the golf course right now with his parents stepping back a little bit. Everybody's seen the gate up there. I don't know. I have not heard as of today if anybody has come out of the woodwork to make a purchase offer on the golf course. But last time I talked to him, he'd had 2 or 3 offers, but none of them were viable enough to even consider. One of the ones I think from the members had included a request for all the equipment. Roger said, there's almost $1 million in equipment up there. Never mind the golf course itself, the property, the building. It's a fairly large undertaking to take on that golf course. There is still hope that somebody could come out of the woodwork and offer a viable purchase offer, one that would have enough money to purchase the equipment and enough money to take over the golf course and have the know-how to take over the golf course. That's, again, as important as the money. If not, there is the possibility that they may want to subdivide the golf course. And talking with Roger Jr., and this is just spitballing, this isn't what they're doing, this is a possibility, keeping the back 9 open and subdividing the front 9 as a way to try and maintain some form of a golf course here in Inlet. It's my hope that somebody will still come forward and present them with something. Roger and I talked at length about one of the concerns a lot of people have had about letting the fairways go to seed, so to speak. If they're going to keep the back 9 open, they might do very basic maintenance to try and maintain that. But if somebody doesn't step forward rather soon, I don't see something happening on the front 9 or the back 9. If I hear anything more from Roger Jr., I will update the board and I will update the town members. This is a private enterprise. This is not a public enterprise. The purchase price is easily 2 times what our town budget is for the year. It's unfortunately not within our scope to take that on. That's my statement on what's going on with the golf course and what Roger Jr. has told me. Does anybody have anything of their public comments they would like to talk about at this point in time?
John Aletto, up online, appreciate all the work on the golf course. I was on the, 2 months ago, I was on Zoom for that. Fully aligned. This is not a city or town enterprise or a county or even a state enterprise. It's not something that's even close to being viable, although I know people want that. I think we all would love to see it stay. I guess I would like the opportunity to, because I was not involved in the members' offer, right? And there's probably other people who could, that maybe would make it a more viable opportunity, but I just I have no access, and I understand all the privacy. I get that, but I also know that they probably want to sell. So is there any way that as an individual citizen and a resident here, I could reach out to Roger Jr.?
I will see if I can make that happen, or at least leave your information and I'll pass it along to Roger and have him call you.
That would be perfect. I sent you a couple of emails.
I wanted to wait till tonight to try and put it out in the public.
I think my info's in there, but I'll resend
Okay.
that. So I would like to at least make an attempt there.
Okay.
I guess my second question on your comment, what are the rules around subdivision? And this is a ignorance question, because I don't really even understand. I know I had to do a lot to get our new construction going on Parker, so.
I've got the experts in the audience, but I'll take a stab at it. First and foremost, it's the APA. And lot size and wetlands and some other issues. Amy, you wanna?
Well, the golf course is in two different APA zones. So one zone is going to be more viable for construction. The back zone that John mentioned is not. That's gonna have to stay one large parcel, regardless of what it is. But whoever does look at something like that, there is gonna be numerous steps to take to get approval from both the APA and then the town approval. And it depends on what you'd be looking at, you know, like a Rocky Point type setting or type of that construction. All of that has to go through the Attorney General. That is a planned development type of construction, so you've got to start with attorneys and getting all your ducks in a row, how you're gonna present it to the buyers, and what their rights and responsibilities would be for being an owner there, just like Rocky Point is. If you were doing something more simple, like just breaking it up to certain size lots, there again, the APA would say how many and what size. So it would be a large
It would be
undertaking.
a process.
Yes, and it would probably be a couple of year process before you probably put your first shovel in the ground.
And there's your explanation as to why they would keep the back 9 as opposed to the front 9.
Sure.
Cause I don't know if many people remember when I first came to town, there was only a front 9. The back 9 was there, but it hadn't been fully developed. You know, the back 9 is longer, it plays harder, it loses balls, we get all that, but that's the reason why the front 9 to be developed, not the back 9.
Sure.
This land use area, is it 3.2 acres lots on the front?
No, it's Hamlet.
It's Hamlet.
Part of it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That around the corner area.
Oh,
50 acres that are.
Yeah.
okay, how much is in, what goes next, 1.2 or 3.2?
Not really fast right there. I think it goes from Hamlet to Moderate.
So it'd be 3.2,
Probably 80.
oh, 8.5,
Oh, yes, it's,
oh, wow.
And again, I know this is going to be a shock to people, but it's not definitely going this way, but it could go this way. I just want to preface that, and quite honestly, we're not encouraging either way. As I make a statement myself, I would like somebody to step forward and purchase the whole golf course. I would like to see that continue, but I can't make that happen on my own. I don't have that much money to loan anybody. Any other public comment? All right, hearing none. We'll move on to Ampian Power update. I don't know if we have anything from ADK Living.
I don't really, but. Oh, there's. I was gonna
Oh,
say-
sorry, I didn't see you back there,
Connie.
Connie.
And I thought Ron-
Brennan get a hold of you?
No,
You have, I messaged both of you at the same time, so you have his contact.
Email, okay, yeah, I saw your email, to give my information to call me, but he didn't, so.
Okay.
I'm gonna be really busy here the next couple days, but next week, I'll give him a call at the beginning of the week, maybe.
Okay, maybe just send him an email. and-
Yeah, well, that might be the easiest way to do it. I'll just take my information back with me and put it all in there again. And so he can follow up on that.
Yeah, I know Dan was going to, try to schedule something with Bonnie, you know, to do an evening or a day. Of course, Dan's got some changes going on now, so, but I know he's still willing to do it. So I think he's coming back from, Myrtle Beach tonight. So I don't think we'll see him, but yeah, and Kathy Damon said she signed up, so we're getting close, and I had emailed Brian the other day, how close are we? Have we hit it? And if you get your stuff done, that should put us over.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, like I said, I'm gonna be kind of busy the next couple days, but next week opens up, so I'll call him like Monday.
Is there anybody else that needed some assistance?
I'd like to get on, but I couldn't figure it out.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, all right, I'll send him your,
Yeah, definitely.
I would do the same. You could hear me.
Yeah.
Dan would like it too.
An email, if you could zip one to him.
Okay, I'll put you all in an email.
Yep, good idea.
So this should definitely do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connie, we signed up and we were immediately, like within a few days, accepted and put on the plan. Unfortunately, there's no resources available through them, so we won't be doing anything with them for over a year.
What?
There are no sites available to purchase power from.
They're sold out?
They're sold out. So.
Oh, well, that could explain
Oh,
what's going on.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it, but it doesn't look, so the site we're looking at is in Batavia and it's not available until likely next year.
So I wonder how, Kathy, I just talked to her last week. Or-
And we signed up almost 2 months ago, right during the meeting, to the meeting.
All right, I will definitely be in touch with you.
Maybe they've got to refresh their list of who. Okay,
All right.
communications. CNS Engineers has found a used shelter. The negotiations now are who's going to pour the concrete to put onto the pad. I'm trying to get Tarpon to do it as a part of their pre-approved agreement so that we don't have to go out for bid or compliance with other things from New York State that the town would have to fall under, even though I think that this would fall under what almost would be described as an emergency necessity for the emergency communications. I don't think it should fall under that, but the county's nervous with this and I get it. But Tarpon had said they were going to pour the pad last year and we didn't have a size of the shelter for them to pour.
Mhm.
I tried to get them to pour a big one so that there'd be a nice sidewalk out in front of the smaller one if there was one, but they didn't want to do this. National Grid power run soon, big question marks. It looks like they're citing more stuff up there. But they may be waiting for Mr. Corsani to give them the okay to go up the hill.
John, is there even specs for this poured pad? I mean, is it an 8-inch pour? I'm just curious. None of us really know. I'm not.
Yes, the engineers have those specs, Dan. I don't have them with me right here. But yeah, again, it depends on the weight of the shelter. And this is a 20-year-old prefab concrete shelter, so I'm sure that the specs on it are thicker. That makes any sense. But I'm not an engineer. I don't play one on TV and I did not sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Although I
Well, it is
understand
if for some reason
Sean-
we have to put it out to bid, we'll have to get some specs. That was all.
Um,
I hope we
Tarpon
don't
should-
run into that.
Tarpon should be able to follow the engineer specs. They've had to do that for every other step of the way up there.
I hope they do.
Well, it's not, me too. But again, they're not gonna pour anything without the engineer's approval and the engineers have to put their stamp on it.
Right.
All right, communications. Denny, did you have anything to add in there? Okay. American Legion request. Adele, you want to take this one?
I did talk with Julie.
Or is Julie back there?
Yeah.
Julie's back there.
Oh.
She's-
Oh, oh, sorry.
Probably didn't recognize me with the freedom beard. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Casey Kelly. I'm here on behalf of the Inlet Legion. And the Racket Lake Legion, American Legion called 1402. So my purpose is twofold. The first is to bring the town board up to speed on our military hero banner program. And then to formally request some, basically it's administrative staff support from the Inlet information. In fact, Julie put together an email and I see it's part of the agenda, page 13, that specifically talks about our request. But where we are right here with the program, we're going to kick it off on Friday of Memorial Day weekend. We've made our first purchase of banners, which are going to honor the 3 namesake members of our post, which is Leonard Mick, Philo Leonard, and Charles Roberts. And then a couple other banners that just kind of generic banners that promote the program. I brought one of them here just to give you an idea what it looked like. That's 24 by 48 inches. They're all going to have the same design and color lettering. When we can, we'll use an actual photo of the referring to the honoree as a hero. And then with their name, their rank, their branch of service, and then simply their era where they served.
Nice.
That's a nice looking banner.
It is nice.
That's a nice looking banner.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm very happy with how it came out. So we also have these same namesake members of the post on smaller banners, which we're gonna hang, from the gazebo, at Legion Square. And, they give it a little additional information about, and the history behind. When our post was chartered in 1947, obviously right after World War II, there were 3 local kids that were, had died in World War II. And they wanted to be honored, so they were, when the charter, came about, they were, became the namesake members of our post. So we thought it was only fitting to additionally honor them with some more information. What we hope to do is have most of our processing for the applications, the payment, pretty much online, and we expect most people will do that. We're setting that system up now. But in addition, there's always going to be folks that want to fill out a printed hard copy of an application. And so we're hoping to use the Inlet Information Office to have a place where they can pick up that application and also turn it in. And in the future, if we do sell what we're referring to as private use banners, let me back up. We guarantee for the banners are going to cost each sponsor $200, and that's for 3 years being displayed along State Route 28 and Inlet. Next year, we'll advance the program into Tunnel Long Lake for the Hamlin Bracket Lake. But right now, we're going to focus on Inlet. And we're looking at about 70 to 75 utility poles between, well, they're basically within the 30-mile-an-hour speed zone within town. We need to expand the program outside of that. Our permits that we have from the Department of Transportation already allow us to do that. And of course, we have emergency permissions from all the utilities and companies that own the poles. After 3 years of being displayed, the plan is to retire that banner and give it to the sponsor, the family. If it's still serviceable, they can display it at home. They can put it in their home or in the garage. We make it clear to them that they're not allowed to just go out and hang it on the power pole in front of their home because there are permits and permissions, required of them. So, in addition to allowing the retired banners to be displayed on private property, we're thinking of, as a fundraiser, to perhaps allow people to buy a banner outright, maybe a duplicate of the one that's going to be displayed publicly, that they could have at home or give as a gift to the family, etc. And so we would need a place for them to come and actually pick up their banners as an alternative of us having the sponsor have to pay shipping fees to send it wherever. So that, as you'll see, is one of the bullets here, what we're requesting. For printing of flyers and applications, again, I can't guess as to how successful our program is going to be, but I can't imagine that being any more than 200 feet of paper, printed in color. The other things are self-explanatory. If you have any questions, here I am.
Thanks for taking this on and running with it. It sounds great. And Adele, thank you for allowing that to come in. And thank you for massaging that. So good work all the way around.
I'm excited. It's going to be great.
And if you've got Julie's approval and Adele's approval, you don't need our approval.
Here we go. Super, thank you.
Planning board, anything from the planning board?
Still looking for some updates, so we're still working on it. Most of the departments have submitted some updates. There's a couple boards that have not.
We did everything, aren't we done?
Like I mentioned to Ray in our meeting earlier, an easy way to search is just open that document and like search everywhere it says town board. And everywhere it's mentioned how town board, see if that's something that you are currently doing, you think you should be doing, or maybe it's something that's not applicable anymore. That's how we want to update this thing.
Very good. When do you want to wrap it up by?
Well, this year it should be adopted. Dave had sent an email out looking for everyone to submit updates by the end of March.
Yeah.
So sooner the better.
Sooner the better.
Because we'll have a public hearing. before we can-
I'm trying to figure out the last time, did we schedule the public hearing in August, July? Or later?
It was probably.
Up to July, I'm thinking.
July,
I
August.
have to go back and,
July or August.
do we know anybody to go back and check that?
Sure.
Yeah, I can search the minute,
Okay.
yeah.
You can feel me looking at you.
Yeah, I did, but I was,
Sorry.
sorry.
Anything else from the planning board?
Take it all in.
We're still waiting also for the short-term rental.
Yeah, you want to hit that?
Yeah, I told the board that I filed it in October, I think it was October 12th, right, John? It was right around October, whatever. I filed it. And then I kept after this Carol DeWarmer at the state, and she's, yeah, that type of thing. She sent it back saying that I needed to resequence my public laws. So I resequenced them, sent them out in November, and just the other day, she finally responded to me after several requests to respond to me or for response. And she said, because it's now 2024, you have to refile them. So she said, but she did say I can email them to her and she will get them filed.
Which you had done originally too.
Right,
But
I
you couldn't
had.
file them from the email last year.
Right. She waited for the originals, but she says in her most recent email, she never received the originals.
Have I said I love New York State?
So I'm going to resend them via email, and she said she can file them pretty quickly.
Yeah, do it all right now, boom. But, yeah. Mhm.
So I did them 3 times,
Yep.
but that's okay.
All right. We got a big one here. The assessor. She's retired. Officially retired. Thank her and welcome her back immediately with a resolution to bring her on part-time. Anybody like to make that motion?
Offered.
Seconded by all,
Yep,
seconded by all. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Just when you thought you were out, what's the Godfather quote? You should pull you back in.
I'm very happy being part-time. It worked very well for me because I would go nuts sitting home.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
Well, we'll remind you of that next year or the year after. And but thank you. And you and John make a good team down there. So we're glad to have you still here. But seriously, thank you for the hard work over the last couple of years. Dealing again with my aforementioned favorite New York State can always be kind of fun, but you've navigated that rather well.
Thank you.
Your assessor codes, parks and building and information. Information is attached. Reports, the reports are attached. Couldn't find the word. Park said they weren't going to be here tonight, but he did want to say that he's still pursuing the air conditioning quotes, and the playground should be in before the end of the month.
Yeah, the 22nd.
Yeah.
Before the end of the month.
Monday, I think.
Monday
you
they're
said,
done.
That's why I said before the end of the month. Well,
yeah. Mhm.
might be here on Monday, but I don't know if we'll be ready to play on Monday.
No, but they're gonna start.
But it'd be very exciting. Anybody else have anything else for parks? Want to
I
point
do.
out?
I do.
Dan, go ahead, sir.
I spoke with Mike a little bit and we're trying to, I don't know, manage the park if we can. We had talks about potentially some point if we could move the pavilion. I know you're probably gonna think I'm crazy and he's crazy, but it's used all the time. You can't go without it. It just would be nice if we could put it where they can monitor the ball field, the new playground and the tennis courts. Where it's at now, they kind of just monitor the police station. It's really not the best place. And I know it throws a wrench in there and he had no problem. He was kind of on board with it. He kind of suggested it and I ran with it. I said, I'd be game to move it if I thought we could at some point. Just throwing it out there. And if you go out and look at the roof on the thing, it's so shaded where it's sitting there. It might do it some good. It's just throwing it out there. I don't know what you guys think, but take a look and then,
More parking.
Well, I think it's off
Where you want to move it to?
up by the tennis courts and up somewhere to between the
water.
boardwalk and the loon, right?
Yeah, that, we kind of have a spot picked, I'm not gonna leave it in Mike's hands. I'm just throwing it out there as food for thought for you guys. I'd love to see it go forward. I can't speak for all of you guys, but I want to throw it out there.
Well, as long as you're volunteering levy lumber as equipment to move it, we'll consider it. No, it's,
I actually told him that it wasn't a problem. If he wanted to get it ready and some Saturday morning, Sunday morning, set it where it goes, we probably can make it happen. We'll have to
well,
make it.
why don't, when you're back, why don't we walk the property up there and at least so that we're all kind of looking at where
Yeah,
you're thinking.
Where the spot would be, and
We don't want it in the way of any tents or whatnot.
By no means, I don't want to encroach or ruin the park that we got, but just throwing it out there. Didn't know what you guys thought, and we might actually be able to tailor our parking in the back after we're done too a little more. Just a thought.
Can't hurt.
yeah,
When I get back, I'll grab a bunch of you guys and we'll look, and Mike, obviously I want him to lead it. It's his park, his ideas, and trying to back him all we can,
Ideas are ideas. Casey?
If I could just make a comment, what about building a second structure? I'm sure it would get used.
And leave that one where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, all creative thoughts, just trying to figure out where to come up with the money for the second structure, but, we'll definitely take a look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
No problem.
All right,
Yeah,
huh? Oh, Del, you're here.
Anybody got any questions on anything that I put?
A lot of red in yours. I'll be talking about some of your red stuff in a little bit.
Some of it discussed.
Line
All right.
19, go to Dell, I agree with it, 100%.
Which one?
Line 19.
Line 19,
I
Yeah,
don't have it with me, but trying to remember.
you counted the lines?
I don't know. I didn't count them. It's stuck in my head. I don't have it with me in front of me. So I can get my phone going and look. Trying to remember what
I'm kidding, it's there.
no, yeah, it would be good for all
Yep.
departments to submit.
Very good. Yes, they are highlighted. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, thank you.
John, anything from, down in your department?
It's definitely picking up.
I know.
A lot of bigger projects coming down the pipeline. We'll see what comes to fruition. Point started their next complex of townhomes. So if you heard a little bit of blasting, you're seeing a lot of dump trucks driving around. They're starting and they're ready, so wouldn't be surprised if they're sold already, but
I peeked up there as they were starting. That was quite the hole they put in.
yeah. Last month I went to Lake Placid for a week and spent a nice long week with New York State, and it was wonderful.
You share my feelings? And I don't mean to, like I'm bashing New York State, it's just it frustrates us sometimes. More than sometimes. Amy, anything to add from your old office and new office?
Well, we had a situation and John dealt with it first, but there was illegal activity with the posting of a lot for sale. And the neighbors were related to the owner of the lot and saw the signs and questioned the owner, and he did not list the property. So John dealt with it the first time, and then about a week later, I had another realtor call me about the same lot. And because of John's information to me, I knew, and I said to the realtor, I didn't think it was actual, but they're using the lot owner's name, but it's not the lot owner. And they're trying to list the property with a seller, a selling agent up here. And like I said, it happened with two different agents. And I did read about a case like this about a year and a half ago in Pennsylvania. And that happens to be where this property owner lives, is in Pennsylvania. And the case in Pennsylvania, the property actually was sold, and the property owners came home after wintering in Florida and found their house under reconstruction and like, but this did not go that far because, but I would say to anybody, if you notice signs when you're driving around. I mean, there's so little here for sale, we kind of catch it fairly quickly. But if anybody does notice a sign,
Yeah, was it through,
no, and we'll.
This is like a squatter situation.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a squatter
basically.
situation.
But to an nth degree, they're not taking the property, they're trying to profit from the
They're
property.
selling the
And-
property.
and this was a perfect, to me, and John and I talked about this, it's a perfect scenario. Because it was vacant land, you usually can't mortgage vacant land, so it usually has to be a cash sale.
Right.
And if the buyer is not doing diligence and not aware, they might be handing over deposits or whatever to this guy and then,
Wow.
Was it going through a local agency?
yeah, both were local.
Have,
One was Tanya Kleiber
Clever.
and the other was Beth. Beth
Oh, Roberts.
Robert.
so they're going through the smaller agents rather than the national affiliates.
Wow.
But
Why
they're
not?
both good agents and they both
Yep.
have a good reputation out there in town. It
Yep.
just,
Might not be a bad idea to put the word out to the other concerns. I can say that now. My wife is no longer affiliated with Burkhardt Evans. Sorry. But yeah, because caveat emptor, but still, you know, letting some of these agents know some of these things coming in from the left field. It's happened in New York City. It's happened everywhere. They're all over the
There's
internet.
a lot of squatter issues going on.
Yeah.
This is a type of that, you know, where you see the thing on TV where the guys, you know, they're taking people's properties and putting multiple mortgages on them and all that. It's the same idea. You know, he's selling a piece of property that doesn't belong to him and he's forging the paperwork and the new people are oblivious. And so, interesting.
All right, anything else for assessor codes? All right, youth commission report. You want to take the youth commission report?
I don't really have anything updated, and Mary's out of town, so, I
I
know they're definitely gonna have the training, that first weekend in June, but I
They got some people?
specifics about it. She does have two people that.
Perfect.
And again, I'll still make the plea if anybody else knows anybody or, you know, if Leo's got room at his house for extra grandkids, grandnieces, nephews.
I did have someone reach out to me, Amy Williams, said her boyfriend's daughter, was looking to, spend the summer up here, and she's already certified and might be interested.
Oh, there you go.
Huge,
So that's one possibility.
very, very good. Parks already hit that. Highway department, you have highway and transfer? Oh, good, tag, you're it.
Okay. Let me just find the text. Okay, he plowed roads, sidewalks and parking lots, posted town and county roads for spring thaw, raked Uncas Road, Evans Drive and Gilbert Road gravel section. Started sweeping downtown and Route 28 corridor. Need a board resolution and signed agreement for the boat launch docks and Moose River Plains work to be done. You signed the agreement, but we'll need the resolution, but keep sweeping, coming up, he's gonna keep sweeping the roads. The road should be, unposted by 4/22 by Monday. Service trucks and equipment, grade the Uncas Road gravel section. Put the Fourth Lake dock around the first or so a week in May. Okay, and that was it.
Yeah, I did actually talk to Tracy today, because I wonder, he said it will be Monday to unpost.
Simple resolution to allow the highway to work with the DEC on the boat launch and the docks, made by John,
I'll second.
second by Tim. Discussion, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye, so approved. Unanimous. Is that what you wanted?
Yep. Yeah,
And transfer?
and he didn't give me any more than that, what I just read. I think just his hours, he usually says.
They changed first of May, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot to put that on here. 1st of May. It's not, we're not open 7 days a week quite yet, folks. 1st of May. Still closed Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Town clerk's report.
Okay, revenue was $8,340. I had several cottage deposits come in. So that was what most of that was. I have a snowmobile update from Chip. Do you want that now or do we have some? No, you want that now?
Sure.
Okay, he finished building a small trailer to use for snow fence, picked up all the snow fence and signs, washed and waxed the groomers and greased, sanded and painted both the big drags, started to build a York rake to use on the trails. And he would like to thank all the landowners for letting us use their property for the snowmobile trails. Without them, we wouldn't have any trails.
And when I say the trailer, he repurposed an old trailer that had been up there and got it rehabbed to, and it looks fantastic.
Nice.
It's been a good addition, having him in that workspace, the tools and some spare steel. I mean, he's combed over stuff that was taken from the old hotel at Rocky Point and repurposed it. The metal's been sitting up there, the old fire escapes and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Well, good.
turn him loose on the scrap and good things happen.
Okay. I have a few more things. I've got a letter here from Maintain the Chain asking if we're willing to support them again, as we did last year. You don't want me to read the whole letter, right?
Would you like a resolution continuing our support?
What should we support them for? That's important.
I didn't look that up. Let me see if they said. I think we gave them. I don't remember.
Wasn't it like $200?
Yeah, well, no, I think that was the association. He doesn't say in here either, and I forgot and I didn't look it up. I apologize. But I can certainly look it up, what we gave him last year, if that's what you want to just do again.
And why don't we put it on the May docket? I mean, we're
Okay.
definitely let them know we're supporting them.
Okay,
We will let them know for how much.
Yeah, we should really know the number.
okay.
I'm not gonna just,
Let you make something up.
we do trust you.
Yeah, I hear that. Okay, finance school, I'm going next month for 2 days to Geneva Finance School. It's just a bookkeeping school, so I'll be doing that. And, drug testing. I did talk to Ronnie about drug testing, and she said it's a board decision because there's a lot of gray area because of the marijuana being legal, but more than that, we're paying a lot of money to BOCES to do all this drug testing that there, not many other towns do it anymore, because you don't really have anything to.
If you've had reasonable suspicion training, and I think if we're going to abandon the drug testing, we want to reemphasize sending our department heads to the reasonable suspicion training so that you can tell the signs of, okay, this employee shouldn't be driving a vehicle and we need to take him down here for a blood test. I mean, that.
Well, the CDL part stays.
I
That's
think that has-
federal.
We
Yeah, I
can't,
think
That's
Yeah.
federal and you cannot change it.
we can't ditch that.
Yeah, you can't ditch that. So we had went way above and beyond years ago with what we were doing. It's probably time to modify that. But we have to come up with a plan. We just can't go, yep, so we need to take what we got, come up with what we should do, make a proposal, and then we change it, right? I mean, we just can't go, all right, let's,
No,
but
absolutely.
the CDL part stays.
Yes.
And then from there, you have to decide, all right, we're not gonna do all employees, we're gonna do it this way, or we're gonna do, the safety sensitive is, our term is larger than most people's safety sensitive term. So we can change that and pare it down. But we need to have it, and we got a place to start, but we need a proposal. So.
Makes sense.
So food for thought.
We're looking for-
If you're looking for a committee to get together and do it, I could be part of it if I'm around or whatever you wanna do, but I need somebody to start this thing. Because, it's my opinion, anyway.
I know that Sean, Don, Townsend and myself have gone for the reasonable suspicion training a couple of times and it works.
Yeah. When I was at the school, I was doing it all. I mean, I had the whole thing. I was running that whole mess. So.
And they literally give you a sheet to follow, literally give you a sheet to follow.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, that to me is at least a must coming out of whatever committee decision we come up with.
Right, and you wouldn't be able to still get them tested unless you had that in the plan. You'd have to set up a plan to say that, if there was substantial reasonable suspicion and you filled out paperwork, then we're gonna test you or something, but you've gotta have to make that legal. You just can't do what you wanna do.
Right, and obviously this goes over where if there's been a accident or a
Yes.
injury or whatever, it's just somebody appears to be that way.
Yeah. Well, those were automatic. Even with,
Okay.
yes,
That's, just offering the board as a retired human resources guy from a chemical company,
beautiful.
happy to be part of that. My wife says I'm not doing enough.
So let us,
Boy, you come to the right place.
so the next time Herb's in town, let us know how the meeting goes.
Yeah.
You guys want to connect?
Yeah, I get your information, or you can give you mine. I'm gonna be gone for a couple weeks, but I'll be back at the beginning of May, so. Oh, you are? Where are you in Florida?
Same on the scene.
So I'm in Leesburg. So, all right. Yeah, I'll get your information. at the meeting.
Is there a barbecue point?
Yeah,
Someplace
we might be getting together in Florida and having our committee meeting.
Very good, thank you.
Sure.
And was that it?
That was it?
That was it. All right,
That's yours. Mine's right here.
snowmobile permit program. Folks, I believe it's the thought that the town is looking to go for no permits in Inlet. We're gonna look to go free. It's obvious from the last meeting in the town of Webb that they have no desire to continue any form of contract or in-force contract or applied contract or whatever. And our simple request to ask for $37,000 money that we feel was owed under the contract has been responded with, they've overpaid us by $500,000. Which I need to make a comment on. It's unfortunate that they're looking at purely the sales of permits in the town of Webb on the online site or in their office as a basis for what they think the money needs to stay in Webb. But that's the crux of it right there. Going back X number of years now, according to the last meeting. If they went back a couple of years farther, they would have found where we were selling more permits than they were, and we cut them checks because we were open at weekends later at night. People came to town. The online sales really pushed us in the other direction. And no matter how many times we asked for a new program, offered to pay for a new program, offered to meet with them, we were met with silence. Until a couple of years ago where they just said, we'd like to look at how much money we're giving you. How about a set fee? No, we're not interested in a set fee. Don't need to meet on that. According to the contract or implied contract, however you want to slice that, they would have had to terminate the agreement with us in order to move forward. Hence our request for the $37,000 for 2 years ago. Never mind this last year. It pains me actually to say this because, I made the comment at last meeting and maybe via Zoom, the meeting before that, there's no way they're spending their share of snowmobile permit money on snowmobiling. And I get it. They have other things that they've had to spend the money on. Years ago, it was the health center. There's Macaulay Mountain that never makes a profit. I get that some of the snowmobiling money might go towards Macaulay Mountain to offset those that don't favor snowmobiling, but you've got another option. I'm not here to tell them they shouldn't be spending their money that way, but the snowmobiling public needs to know that that's where the money's going. Quite frankly, the 14% that we were getting, we were spending on snowmobiling. There were years where we had to spend more. Yes, there were years where, the sales were high, the snow was good, and we might have pocketed a little bit of money to offset the years where we didn't. That's not the case in Webb. They're probably taking at least $200,000 to $300,000 off the top. And now that they're not going to be giving us what should have been our share of the joint permit, they're going to have even more money. I can't help but see some of the recent meetings where they're talking about a new chairlift at Macaulay Mountain. I know they have needs. They have other needs. They should have seen that down the pipe and they should have started a capital campaign for those things years ago. I'm sorry that they didn't, but I don't think this board wants to see it hurt the snowmobiling public. So we're going to embrace, you don't need a permit in the town of Inlet. You won't need a permit in Hamilton County to ride your sleds. You will need to register them. You will need to insure them. We will still be doing traffic stops. We will still be checking to make sure you're registered and insured. This was not our idea, but I think this is the path forward.
Yeah.
You said you had some other.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify a couple of statements that were made by the town of Webb at their board meeting. John talked about the first one, the $500,000. Nowhere in this contract that we have, it says anything about sales. It just splits the money and we both sell and then we split the money. The agreement started back in 1988 and it's been kind of going ever since then. And we've always received, either Webb or Inlet has received the amount that was due them up until September of last year, when they changed their mind and they just gave us a set amount of money. And so I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how this is going to end up, but we did this all these years and all of a sudden it's changed without our approval. So they voted at their board meeting the other night not to give us the money. And so I'm looking for, I will make a motion that we go after the money that's due us from 2 years ago and the money that's due us this year, which we normally don't settle until September, but I don't want to wait. I want to get that number out there. And any other discrepancies that may have fallen on our end that need to be done. And I just want to, I'll make the motion. I want to
I'll second that.
go to Waddy,
Seconded by all.
seconded by all, and I'll meet with Waddy and set something up.
To add to Herb's comments, the town of Inlet was still on the permit that was purchased for this year. The town of Inlet was still on the permit that was purchased for last year.
Yeah.
The snowmobiling public had the expectation that we were working together. And quite honestly, we technically were. They didn't cancel this until emails that flew back and forth between the board and myself, and then an email that flew to their board that had supposedly come to me, but hadn't come to me. That's another troubling factor in this. Quite honestly, I won't get into too much of that, but it seems odd.
I got some discussion when you got a minute.
All right, Dan would like to add one thing as a member of the board.
It's more than one thing. Has anybody made them validate expenses versus our expenses? I'm going to say no. And I'll give you a couple examples. For one, we have 3 groomers, 6 drags, and 3 people to run them in the winter. For our, let's call it 15%, not 14, let's round it up, leaving them 85%. You show me, and they can validate that they got 17 groomers, 34 drags, and 17 people in season to run them. Then you want to start with the mileage thing. I'll go over that too. I watched their meeting on YouTube. They obviously don't. I got sleds enough to gear them all up, and I'll take them on our trails and show them what we got to offer. One little capillary trail, one minuscule, is over 6 miles long that goes to Herkimer County to a town web business, the Red Dog Dam. Just one. I heard something about 10 miles of trails for their whole system. Obviously, he's never rode. I've been on them trails, all of mine and all theirs, all my life. I have never seen any of them people on a snowmobile or anywhere on them trails. I'm not saying they haven't, but I'll be more than happy to go with them and show them what we got to. I'll even show them their own. I got no problem with it. No one has challenged them and made them validate what they need to know. They don't know. I got no problem going to next month's meeting with somebody, and maybe they're watching now. That would be great. I got no problem clarifying this. Clarity is what I want, just what you guys said. Transparency, discovery, all this new stuff, that's all I want. If they want to get rid of us, great, but it isn't for our lack of the program. And the money is not taxpayers' money. These people buy permits all over. All over. They come, I got cousins come from Philadelphia, Connecticut, get our permits so we can ride, so we can follow this network of trails. I don't care if you go to another country, it's the same way. You want to follow the network. That's what makes your trail system. Don't make it about us and them. It's a network we're providing. I think it's absurd what's going on. Absolutely absurd. I blame myself for missing that one meeting that you guys went to. I'd probably exploded there. I can't help it. I'm gonna clarify a whole bunch of things for him. And it's all gonna be the truth. No exaggerations and nothing hidden. That's what needs to be done.
2 points I'd like to make, Dan, on what you said, and you reminded me on the permit not being taxed out. The first comment that I was given by Bonnie when we were first talking about this, was, I've got to watch out for the taxpayers' money. It's not the taxpayers' money until after the season is over. It is a permit fee that has been purchased, should go in a separate bank account and be utilized for all things needed for trails, be it the split with Inlet or their needs down there. At the end of that, that's when you say there was an excess in the permit sales. This is how we're going to spend it or what we're going to do with it. And then it becomes the taxpayers' money. So thinking that they don't have to pay us because it's the taxpayers' money and they have to watch out for the taxpayers' money, that's a misnomer. Dan, it's unfortunate. We can point out anything we want to. They're a separate entity, a separate public entity, elected separately. The contract that was put in place was a binding agreement, but it had language in there that should they want to sever it, they can sever it. The only thing that we have to talk about is the monies that are owed us while the contract was in effect.
Yeah.
And that's the argument the lawyers are going to have to make. They're going to say that we never re-signed that contract year after year, but the permits were printed year after year, and nobody ever severed the contract year after year.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but there's no way we can force them back into the agreement. I quite frankly asked them to continue the agreement in some form or fashion, and she said no. And I'll add that she said no. Well, and I'll add that she said no before she contacted her board too.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would love to go down there and meet with some people down there and try to get somewhere. I don't see it. I didn't see it when we met in June. I don't see it when they're talking, they're having, I have no other alternative except to go this way we're going. That's the way I feel.
But you're free to go to the next meeting, Dan.
Yep.
And I'll watch.
I'll be there. All I know is that it's the only service provider that basically can self-sustain itself financially by itself, by these permits these people buy. That's why, and they're all thinking that. They all buy them. They might buy 2, 3, 4, even though they can write one sawmill at a time with hope that this service is provided. And when they feel like they're not, and you're closing off their network, that you can cut off your arm and live if you want, but it's kind of foolish to if you don't have to. Yeah, you can live without one. But I just think it's foolish. I think it's old school that somebody had said something. This guy said it. You got to leave it for the next bunch of boards to run too. We didn't just invent this thing.
And they picked a bad season to have this happen. Coming out of this season.
Yep.
There's many other things that are going to come to light on this, but at this point, I think we kind of need to move on a little bit.
I think after that meeting in June, it was so hostile towards us, I think we should just cut ours. We should just ride for free. We should do it. Our county will be free. People will come here to ride for free.
Yep. And that said, the free riding options are going to be many. We'll point those out at a later point in time. At this point, normally I don't do this, but I would open it up to the public if anybody has a brief comment they would like to make on the snowmobiling situation.
Question.
Shoot, Julie.
So, is money gonna have to be, do we already pay an attorney to take care of this stuff, whether it happens or not? Or are we now going to have to pay him specifically to handle this? And if that's the case, will we be attempting to recoup that as well?
It would depend on whether we actually wind up in front of a judge or if we get a brokered agreement. But right now we have a legal line in the budget. We've never appointed a town attorney, so to speak. We have a law firm that we point towards. Unfortunately, it's the same law firm that the town of Webb uses. So in this case, we've gone back to Wadi Khalil.
Wadi Khalil. Well, Wadi Khalil, it will be Michael Khalil's firm.
Yeah.
is what it's gonna be.
And I want to make the statement that this is separate from the Adirondack snowmobiling group that's popped up on, and I believe you're here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure you're gonna want to have something to say, maybe. Like, you're not part of the Khalil Law Firm. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Not a habit of talking to anyone there, and I just want to commend you folks for your commitment to snowmobiling in the Central Adirondacks. And I think many of the snowmobilers out there, not only that are here locally, but all across the state, out of state, are going to be very pleased with your openness and transparency to promote snowmobiling in the area. Means a lot.
And as long as I'm around, we're gonna have snowmobiling.
Great, that's good to hear.
Anybody else?
Quickly, I came here to this town actually snowmobiling 20-some years ago, and now I live here and I call it home.
Mhm.
I love it here. And the first thing that I noticed is that the permitting system, was a small part of what I needed to get to or coming back from. Hamilton County is the hidden little gem of snowmobiling. Hundreds and hundreds of miles of free riding, forest preserve, which is, there's not a lot like it around here. It's not the hustle and bustle, little windy trails in a forge. It's amazing. And it connects to even more trails.
Mhm.
So what this really even does, if you do decide to unpermit those people that stop at the old barn or go to Easy Mart and turn around and go back, are now going to come to Inlet,
Mhm.
where we now have 3, hungry restaurants right in town. So if we could also think about doing as much as we possibly can to promote this, i.e. one thing that we do not have is good direct snowmobile access parking for trailers. The people come right to Inlet, they dump their trailer, they ride, they come back to their trailer, and then they go to the restaurants and shops in town. It's always been a problem because you need ideal conditions to get to all these other trails from Inlet. So you have people going to other areas, and not getting through. So that's something to think about. The trail department, I know, is aware of it, but the board can support them in any way. Think of ideas to get people into Fern Park or out of Fern Park or another location.
Good idea. Julie, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was gonna say something very similar. I feel bad for the businesses in Old Forge because I feel like they're probably getting caught in the middle of something that they don't even want to happen. But I think it's important for Inlet to capitalize right now on how much we need snowmobiling and appreciate snowmobiling. And, if you live here and you don't feel that way, I understand. And my business is not open in the winter, but if we were treating summer tour, not us, but if summer tourists were treated the way that some of the snowmobilers are treated, I would be furious. And so I feel that fury for my fellow business owners, and I even work in restaurants in the winter and stuff. We need to capitalize on this right now and make people understand that we are not aligned with Old Forge because some of them are displaying some very unfriendly attitudes towards snowmobilers, even at these same town meetings, not allowing them to speak and cutting them off and just giving them the impression that they don't want to hear what they have to say. And I think now is a time to show that Inlet is not like that. So I think it's, the free inlet and all that is great. Let's keep going with that. Get as much business up here as we can for our little community.
You make a good point. So I'd like to offer a resolution, acknowledging the fact that we are the town of Inlet supporting 3 trails in Hamilton County and Inlet. Simple resolution. No permit fee required. Make sure you've got your registration and your insurance. That's my resolution. Anybody like to,
Second it?
I've moved it.
Yeah, no, I said second it, yeah.
Further discussion?
Yeah.
Again, this is to support the snowmobiling community. That is, for lack of whatever's going on, our winter economy is snowmobiling. As long as the mother nature, climate change, whatever you want to call it, will allow, we're doing everything in our power to make sure that there's snowmobiling, right up to our highway department, spreading snow on the sidewalks so that they can be groomed still.
People will still get through though. They'll come from Big Moose, they'll go down South Shore.
Yeah.
They'll get to Old Forge, they'll get where they have to without the trail
Yeah.
system, so without Old Forge's trail system.
We have a resolution on the dais. I need to vote. That's okay.
Just kidding.
Hey, I'm with you. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye, opposed? So carried.
As you know,
And to Tim's point, you don't need a permit to ride down the South Shore Road. You don't need a permit to ride the Big Moose Road. And there are other areas where that's probably gonna come out. And I don't think Webb has thought this through fully.
It might, Beth Pillow from the Little Fox and Big Moose, and this does affect me. My question is, where are your lines? So people, where would the free pass start on, like, say, Eagle Bay area?
Big Moose Road,
Big
Big Moose Road.
I mean,
Yeah.
there should be a state corridor trail
That
going
is
through there
true.
anyway, so
Right.
there's no
Yeah.
permit
Yeah.
required.
Right next to
Here.
28 is
Your
state
place.
corridor, and then you go right up Big Moose Road.
If the town of Webb is grooming across the Eagle Bay Village front lawn, and the Eagle Bay Villa owners, and I understand there's new owners at the Eagle Bay Villas, say, we want them to ride free there, they can ride free there. If they say we don't want them to ride there, they are allowed to snowmobile on the shoulder of the road to the corner of Big Moose Road from the town and county line, which is right in front of the old railroad station.
Right.
So, and that's far enough that they can traverse next to the road, should they want to get there. But with the fact that you've got a couple of new businesses in Eagle Bay and whatnot, I don't see that as being an issue either. Again, and I'm
Right next to
sorry,
Streets.
the old
Yeah.
Old Forge Town of Webb Board has not thought of their outlying areas very well here.
Yeah, so that Railroad Ave too, that's a road. That's
Yeah, it's a
not
road.
trail. They can get to Big Mushama.
Okay.
Without,
All right.
they can park behind the, Bay House. Walk up to the tower.
You can go down South Shore, you can get down
Well, you got-
behind the school, you can get to Don's. Porter.
East Ave,
You can
Central
go wherever
Ave,
you want. I mean, it's-
West Ave, they're all roads.
And,
And the lake also is a good.
And the lake.
but we never promote riding, we never, ever promote riding on lakes. All right, folks,
Yeah, we,
we digress. I apologize. I've got to keep the meeting moving. I've got somebody sitting with my wife that, wants to go home. Street light upgrade to LEDs. I think we're almost there, right?
We're done.
We're done?
Yep, I sent the letter of commitment and, what went with that? Letter of commitment. Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, did we,
Thank you, Bonnie. It was great that you, and to all the departments for getting all that.
Yeah.
did we add the extra light on Gilbert Road?
Not
yet.
I think, no,
We still have to
talked-
do our
we talked
inventory,
about
right?
it, but yeah,
Okay.
we talked about it, but she said something about, I can't remember what, I didn't really understand what she said about doing it. I gotta talk to Sean about getting it added.
All right, solar eclipse report. I'm gonna give my little report, and then I'll have Adele give a little report. You know, I think we were over prepared, and it was a good thing to be over prepared. I think the weather and the forecast changed and hurt us a little bit. I think us probably throwing the fear of travel into some people might have, you know, had dividends, but my worst fear is of somebody being with a broken leg on top of, you know, Rocky Mountain or whatever didn't come to fruition. And for that, I'm happy. You know, I'm hearing elsewhere around the park that a lot of people came, they may have stayed, they might have eaten, but they didn't do a lot of shopping. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I really don't have a report because I wasn't here. You know, we watched the eclipse in a cereal box viewer with a pinhole, you know, sitting by the pool. But I don't think we were really over prepared. I think we were fine here. You know, we had an extra police officer to help with traffic control. We had porta potties here where we didn't have bathrooms, and we had a food truck who he was happy. The people who came were happy.
When I say over prepared, we were ready for more. I didn't mean to say we should have done less. I did not.
And having the first responders available at the trailheads and top of the mountains, that was fine. They got a good view on top of the mountain too. So.
I'm just bummed I missed out on the brisket up at the fire hall. I heard it was really good. Anyways, All right, folks, that brings us to public comment. Anybody else in the public have anything they wanted to say? Connie?
I think there's a plan for the town to work on the post office. Is that true? Do some updates.
That would be a Mike question, and Mike's not here.
Hey, just to point it out, you know, almost every time I go in there, the door is never closed. You know, it just sticks and you can see outside. And then when, the power went out last week, Kathy had to prop the door open because it automatically locks. It's like, oh my God, you know, because there's no backup, no generator or anything, and then, you know, the door doesn't close on it. Every time I go in there, you know, it could be, you know, 0 out and the, you know, the door is
Well, that,
stuck.
the door lock thing is something they put on, right?
Yeah, the door lock, that's a federal requirement, I'm guessing.
They put on.
That's,
Well, we can't do anything about that.
well,
The only thing is that if there was a generator, some way to, prevent that, because propping the door open in the middle of winter is not necessarily a. But just to bring that to the attention that there are some things that need to be addressed there as far as,
I was hoping the upstairs tenant was gonna put a generator in and share it with the downstairs tenant.
The library gets.
He-
grant for a generator.
He at least did make some nice flower boxes for them. Was that you?
My guys.
Your guys? I understand that we're supposed to be doing some sprucing up, possibly power washing, cleaning, and we should add something to do with that door to the list.
it
But
just got the thing on the top, but it just doesn't have enough.
Yeah.
to close it.
it's probably out of line a little bit too it gets a lot of traffic. Thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else? All right,
I
folks.
want
Oh.
to thank the board for making that last resolution. That's just amazing to the snowmobile community, this community. I appreciate it. That's a lot of foresight too. Long time coming, like somebody just said already, like the old days. So,
I don't want to make light of the fact that it's gonna be a lift to make it work in the budget,
Mhm.
but it's not as a heavy lift as Old Forge's lift. Quite honestly, you know, this board and the boards prior to me, you know, I'll tap Don Bird, J.R. Risley and the others. We've always been a forward-thinking board. And planned ahead. We're not in other areas of shortfall where we had to take the snowmobile money and then apply it. So we'll figure this out. Tim's got some radical ideas, but we're not looking to get rid of the planning board and the assessor's office quite yet.
Trying to,
Yeah, well, in time, we'll figure this out.
Just, and folks, that was a joke. All right, no executive session, a motion to pay highway,
I'll make.
second discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye,
Opposed, so carried. Motion to pay general and sewer,
offered.
discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Next meeting's on the 14th of May, I think. Are we still doing Tuesday or are we doing Wednesday?
Tuesday.
I want to switch to Wednesday.
But then are we gonna go to the town board
Yeah,
meeting?
we can go to the board meeting and watch Dan.
I kind of like to try the Wednesday thing. It worked okay tonight once I got the date right on the agenda.
Probably next month as well.
Tuesday.
Like
Work.
normally I don't.
Work for me. I don't know.
All right, the 15th. We're gonna try that. Scratch what's written on this.
So it'll be the third Wednesday.
Oh,
No.
geez, that messes everything up.
Just saying.
Can't you do the second?
like,
No, it's gotta be this. Yeah, don't, no. You're gonna move it to the third.
All right, if we're going to amend our rules of order, the Wednesday following the second Tuesday of the month is when the town board meetings will be.
So the second Wednesday of the month.
No,
Not always.
no, this is how the county does its weird committee days. It's always the Tuesday before the first Thursday of the month.
The
It's,
Wednesday after the second
you can
Tuesday, and
literally,
third Tuesday in May.
Right.
Or third Wednesday in May, so it's not always. the
so it
second
would be
Wednesday.
the Wednesday following the second Tuesday.
So why can we?
why can we just make it the second?
Yeah, I
Wednesday?
think we do it back to Tuesday. Just leave it alone.
Let me see. Why?
Until we figure it out, the next meeting is gonna be the 15th. It's a Wednesday. It actually happens to be the third Wednesday of the month. Hey? Yes?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Be here or not be here. I don't know. See how it goes.
That's just it. So, all right. And then we'll figure it out going forward from there. The next meeting's on the 15th. Folks, thank you very much for coming. A motion to adjourn?
My nephew's graduation, so I will not be here.
So look at what the second, look at the other Wednesday.
Ah, we almost made it.
Look at the Wednesday.
I'm just telling you,
No, look at the Wednesday before. What's the date?
my
I don't have a kid.
nephew's gonna become a doctor. And I'm gonna go to his graduation, so.
Oh, so you, what she's saying is that makes it the first Wednesday.
will be second.
It'll be the second Wednesday, the 8th.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Ah,
So there's something already scheduled here on the eighth, sorry.
what is that?
It is the school board's public hearing on the annual meeting and public hearing,
Well, I'll be at finance school.
May eighth.
Yeah, and you'll be gone at finance school.
It starts at 6:15 though. They might
Yeah, but she'll be gone at
Oh,
finance.
wait a
school.
minute. No, I'll be back. That's the second day of finance school. So I'll be back.
7:30 on the 8th.
Okay.
7:30 on the 8th. And we'll be posting that at the post office
This
and
time. I remember,
online.
Yeah.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn?
offered.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.